Καλησπέρα και καλώς ήρθατε στο 13ο Φεστιβάλ Ντοκιμαντέρ Θεσσαλονίκης. Έπεται η προβολή της ταινίας «Ιστορία» του Πατ Τίλμαν, του Amir Bar-Lev. So, welcome to the 13th Documentary Festival of Thessaloniki. You will watch now soon the film The Tillman Story by Amir Bar-Lev. We have the honor to have him here with us. So, he wants to present his movie. Ο σκηνοθέτης της ταινίας βρίσκεται μαζί μας για μια μικρή εισαγωγή. Στο τέλος της ταινίας ακολουθεί αυτό που ονομάζουμε Q&A session. Είναι στη διάθεση σας ο σκηνοθέτης για ενδεχόμενα ερωτήματα, σχόλια. So, in the end of the screening, there is a Q&A session. Η ταινία συμμετέχει στο βραβείο κοινού. Φεύγοντας λοιπόν από την αίθουσα, μην ξεχάσετε να ψηφίσετε. The movie also participates in the Audience Award competition. So after leaving the theater, you can vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I don't really have much to add to that, but I wanted to thank everybody here for coming in out of such a nice day to see this very sad movie. And I want to thank the festival, Dimitri, Angeliki, and the whole team. They've been such gracious hosts to me and my family, and we're very honored to show you this film here. So I'll see you in an hour and a half, and thanks again for coming.
Τόσο υπέροχη μέρα διαλέξατε να πείτε να δείτε μια ταινία, μάλλον δηλαδή. Ευχαριστείτε τον Δημήτρη τον Ιππίδη, την Αγγελική, τον Θάνο και όλο το team που δείξαν τέτοια ευγνωμοσύνη στην οικογένειά του. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Όποιος θέλει να ρωτήσει κάτι, το σκηνοθέτη είναι στη διάθεσή σας. If anybody has any question.
First of all, it was an amazing movie. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
And it was pretty ironic that you had Josh Brolin as narrator, considering that Brolin had played George W. Bush himself in the previous movie.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to ask you about Pat Tillman. This was a guy who was an atheist, who was reading Noam Chomsky books and all that stuff. And have you really understand the reason that made him go to this insane war? I mean, this is a pretty controversial personality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Συγχαρητήρια για την ταινία πρώτα απ' όλα. Ο θεατής ρωτάει πώς συμβαδίζει μια προσωπικότητα όπως ο Πατ Τίλμαν, που είναι άθεος και αναγνώστης του Τσόμσκι, να θέλει να καταταχθεί στο στρατό.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I can say about that is, when we started making the film, the family told us that Pat had asked for his privacy in the decision making about why he went to go off and fight. And so we had to respect that. And it was complicated. It was complicated as a filmmaker, because you don't want to keep a secret from your audience and everybody starts to wonder, well, what's behind the door? But at the same time, we actually came to feel as though really he had never asked for all the attention that he got, and he really had one dying wish in a way, which was to not have that part of his life explored. So it was complex, but while we were making the film, John Krakauer, who is a well-known American writer, was also making a book about Pat, and Pat's widow had given him the diaries, Pat's diaries and letters, but she didn't want us to have them. Shall I keep going? Or you want to translate so far?
The more you say, the less I will translate.
That's fine. I'm almost done. Okay. So anyhow, so the book came out, and we finished the film about the same time, and I was very scared that maybe there was something in the book that would make the film, but no, there wasn't. When you turn, I didn't even read it. I went right to the page that would have the diary of the enlistment. And nowhere in there did he say anything about the United States, patriotism, honor, duty, sacrifice, 9/11, all of the things that he's associated with in his decision to enlist are missing from that journal entry. He talks about, in a way, he talks about the adventure. So I felt we were pretty, because we really didn't, it's not like the family said, here's the reason and we don't want you to tell it. I never really was told the reason, I never really probed, but I had my guesses about it, and I think my hunches were correct. That really had nothing to do with all of the reasons Americans ascribed to him without his permission. Good luck.
Thank you. Λοιπόν, αυτό που συνέβη είναι ότι η οικογένεια, όταν τους πρωτοπροσέγγισε ο σκηνοθέτης, δεν ήθελε να μοιραστεί κάτι που ο ίδιος ο Τίλμαν ήθελε να κρατήσει για τον εαυτό του, δεν ήθελε να μοιραστεί τους λόγους για τους οποίους κατατάχθηκε στο στρατό. Φυσικά και ο σκηνοθέτης κάπως ήθελε να μην στερήσει και από το κοινό του ο ίδιος την αποκάλυψη ενός τέτοιου μυστικού, το οποίο τελικά, να πω συγχρόνως ότι ένας συγγραφέας, what's the name of the writer?
Krakauer.
Ο Krakauer, την ίδια στιγμή που ο σκηνοθέτης μας εδώ γινούσε την ταινία, έγραφε ένα βιβλίο βασιζόμενο σε εκμεστηρεύσεις της συζύγου του Τίλμαν, σχετικά με όλη αυτή την ιστορία. Βιβλίο και ταινία τελειώσαν σχεδόν την ίδια εποχή και ο σκηνοθέτης προσπάθησε να ζητήσει να βρει μήπως ο συγγραφέας είχε πράγματι εκμεύσει το μυστικό λόγο για τον οποίο ο Τίλμαν κατατάχθηκε στο στρατό, αλλά δεν βρήκε, ότι το βιβλίο έχει και σελίδες του ημερολογίου, του προσωπικού ημερολογίου του Τίλμαν, το οποίο είχε η σύζυγός του στη συνέχεια. Το ρεζουμέ είναι ότι κανένας από τους λόγους που αναφέρονται στο ντοκιμαντέρ δεν σχετίζεται με τους πραγματικούς λόγους για τους οποίους ο Τίλμαν θέλησε να καταταχθεί στο στρατό. Ούτε η ανδρεία, ούτε ο πατριωτισμός, ούτε η πτώση των πύργων στη Νέα Υόρκη. Αυτό.
Thank you, thank you. I just say one more thing actually, which is just, I think it's very interesting. We tried to make a film in a way more about who our culture wanted Pat Tillman to be than actually a film about Pat Tillman. And it's been very interesting. Like for instance, you know, we came out with the movie, and if you look on certain like right-wing websites, they say, you know, the family doesn't know who Pat Tillman is. We know who Pat Tillman is. You know, it's like, how? You know, and it really is. It's as though, you know, Americans were going to make Pat Tillman into a hero, whether he wanted it or not. You know, and it's such a great irony in that you know, you put somebody on a pedestal, but it's you force him on a pedestal. You know, it's like. So really, we turned the lens outward and tried to make the film much more about, you know, who Americans needed Pat Tillman to be than to really psychologically dissect Pat Tillman.
Η πραγματική πρόθεση του σκηνοθέτη και της ομάδας του ήταν να δείξουν ποιον ήθελαν οι Αμερικάνοι να αναδείξουν ως Πατ Τίλμαν και όχι ποιος πραγματικά ήταν ο Πατ Τίλμαν, ο οποίος ήταν και πολύ ταπεινός και κατά κάποιο τρόπο, όπως φαίνεται και στο ντοκιμαντέρ, η κυβέρνηση ήθελε να τον σηκώσει πολύ πιο ψηλά από εκεί που ίδιος ήθελε να είναι. Αν έχει αντίδραση των δεξιών επίσης στα blogs μετά την κυκλοφορία της ταινίας, what was the right-wing reaction?
Oh yeah, the right-wing reaction to the movie was, you know, that that the family didn't know their son as well as the rest of their son.
Οι δεξιοί λοιπόν ισχυριόταν ότι ίσως καταλάβαν καλύτερα τον Πατ Τίλμαν από τη ίδια η οικογένειά του. Άλλη ερώτηση.
I may use a blunt American expression, you must have pissed off a lot of people when you made this movie. And I wondered, during the course of the movie, when you were making this movie, were you pressured by groups? Were you threatened by groups? Did they try to make your life miserable? Did they try to withhold information from you?
Η ερώτηση είναι αν κατά τη διάρκεια των γυρισμάτων είχε προβλήματα με ανθρώπους, με απειλές, από ομάδες ανθρώπων που προφανώς θέλουν να εμποδίσουν την ταινία.
Actually, it's funny. The film has shown at West Point. It's shown in many military circles. The film is shown at West Point. It's shown to the Marine Corps, the U.S. Marine Corps, and they made, after Pat died, right after Pat died, they made a U.S. they call it a USO center, which it's a place on a American Army base for the soldiers to relax, and they called it the Pat Tillman USO Center. And one colonel there got a hold of the DVD and has been showing it over and over again. So actually, we tried very hard to make a film that wouldn't be easily dismissed, because so many documentaries in the United States are really the purview of the left, you know, and so sometimes when I watch the film, I think about, there were even things that the family said that I decided just personally were too far to the left. I didn't want them in the film because I wanted it to show at West Point, and I wanted it to show at the Army bases and stuff like that. I wanted it to be hard to argue with. And I feel very grateful and, you know, satisfied that whatever flaws the film has, that one, it didn't really, it's been flying under the radar. And I think, you know, hopefully it's affecting, you know, when I was sitting like this at a Q&A at West Point, which is a military academy for officers, and, you know, just a sea of young cadet faces, and just thinking, I can't believe they let me show this film to these kids, you know. So, you know, I could go on, but it makes it harder to translate. That answers partially.
It's already hard to translate.
Okay, sorry.
Θα δυσκολευτώ λίγο εδώ, δεν ξέρω πώς καταλάβανε. Η ταινία έχει προβληθεί ήδη σε αρκετά σημεία στρατιωτικού ενδιαφέροντος, σε σώματα στρατών. Δεν ξέρω, δεν καταλαβαίνω ακριβώς την ορολογία με το στρατό, λυπάμαι πάρα πολύ. Νομίζω ότι εδώ δυνατόν...
Στις στρατιωτικές σχολές.
Στις στρατιωτικές σχολές και τα λοιπά, ναι, και η επιθυμία του ήταν να μην πάρει, να μην γίνει μια ταινία που προπαγανδίζει κάπως μια αριστερή οπτική της ιστορίας. Από εκεί και πέρα.
Can I say, in English, we have a saying, don't preach to the converted. Do you have something like that?
Probably.
In other words, you know, you should reach the people who need to hear it, not the people who already agree with it. So that's why we shaped the film the way we did.
Ωραία, η ταινία προφανώς απευθύνεται πιο πολύ στους ανθρώπους που θέλουν να τα ακούσουν και όχι σε αυτούς που ήδη γνωρίζουν.
Δεν είπα ακριβώς αυτό. Υπό την έννοια ότι είπε ότι θέλει να απευθυνθεί και στους ανθρώπους οι οποίοι δεν έχουν ακριβώς αυτή τη λογική, αλλά να τους αγγίξει, γιατί αυτοί οι οποίοι έχουν αυτή την αριστερή ίσως λογική, τα ξέρουν.
Τα γνωρίζουν, ναι. Άμα θέλεις να με βοηθήσεις.
Όχι, μια ερώτηση μόνο θέλω να κάνω.
Ναι.
It's a group effort. I'm sorry, I don't speak Greek. Hi.
Λοιπόν, το West Point είναι, δεν το έχω ξανακάνει αυτό, sorry, I've never spoken in public, it's a bit stressful.
Go ahead.
Το West Point είναι στρατιωτική ακαδημία, η μεγαλύτερη στρατιωτική ακαδημία στην Αμερική. Είπε ότι... So you showed it in West Point.
Yeah.
Is that a kernel that took the
No, that was a different one, but yeah, it showed to many.
Είπε ότι δεν ήθελε να δείξει πολύ αριστερή, όλη την άκρο αριστερή άποψη της οικογένειας, ότι το έκρυψε λίγο, κράτησε κάποιες απόψεις έξω. You kept some of the...
It's okay. I'll make a more simple answers. Yeah, no, thank you. It's all right. I'm gonna speak in rhyme. No, okay, go. Yeah. Okay, yeah, hi. Okay, yeah, good. We'll work collectively.
How much do you think the media, especially the media in America, actually wanted to learn the truth?
Not at all.
No, one thing I remember is something I read about the magnum photographer Philip Griffith Jones, who was in Vietnam for many years. And he said for many, many years, very few of the reporters actually went out into the field or went to the learning. And the American military didn't need to censor them because they knew that 99% of them would give the message the military wanted.
Yeah.
Do you think that has changed at all?
Well, it was better in the old Vietnam days. I mean, in Vietnam, actually, you see, in Vietnam, the reason the war eventually was stopped, you know, is because Americans could see what was happening in Vietnam. And so, you know, they couldn't abide by it. But they were very smart. The military, since the first Persian Gulf War, created embedded journalists
Actually, it started in the Falklands War, 1982.
Okay, in the Falklands War.
Because they realized dead bodies don't sell.
I mean, it's very smart, you know, because for a number of reasons you don't get real journalism anymore. But I'll give you an example. You see in the footage that we have of the so-called rescue of Jessica Lynch, you can watch the footage and you can see that it's bogus, you know, that it's a film production. We didn't get that footage in some special way by some deep throat who handed it to us in a paper bag. I got that from CNN. And so CNN and ABC, and they all had the same footage we had. They chose not to show it because it didn't sell shampoo as well as she was a West Virginian Rambo hailing from the mountains. You know, I mean, it's not as though Donald Rumsfeld met with the heads of the networks and said, now here's what you're going to do. No. It's about selling shampoo. And what sells shampoo is stuff that reminds people of movies, Hollywood movies. And it didn't, to show that footage that we showed and to tell it the way we told it is not as good of a story as, you know, the story that got told. So, you know, I think it is a complete failure of the press, and it goes on till this day. And I mean, I'm very interested in the WikiLeaks thing because what you know, when you see them coming down and asking about Julian Assange's, you know, sexual proclivities and things like that, that's because he embarrasses them. I mean, I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. To me, it doesn't matter. The point is he embarrasses them because they've been reporting on the Iraq War as though it was a John Wayne movie for, you know, and the Afghanistan War for 10 years now. And then when he actually releases the raw data, which they could have done themselves, you know, they could have found that stuff out if they were doing their job, it makes them look bad. So they have to start, you know, vilifying him. Anyway, that's beside the point, but we maybe give up on the translation, I don't know. How do you translate Julian Assange's proclivities?
Σεξουαλικές προτιμήσεις του Julian Assange.
Anyhow. Should we ask another question? Yeah.
Συγχαρητήρια καταρχήν. Θα ήθελα να ρωτήσω αν, παρόλο που είδαμε ότι ο αδερφός του Πατ δεν συμμετείχε στο ντοκιμαντέρ, αν έγινε κάποια συζήτηση μαζί του και αν είχε κάποια επιπλέον πληροφορία από αυτόν.
Though the brother of Pat Tillman did not participate, doesn't participate in the documentary, did you have a discussion with him?
Sure, yeah. He helped us, but he didn't want to be recorded. Because, you know, we got involved at the end, really. What you see at the end of the film is when we started working. And he had already been disappointed one too many times. And so he said, guys, I'll help you, but I don't want to participate. It's too painful. So.
Λοιπόν, η ταινία ουσιαστικά αρχίζει τα κινήματα της ταινίας αρχίζουν στο τέλος, από αυτό που βλέπουμε στο τέλος της ταινίας. Φυσικά και μίλησε με τον αδερφό, απλά ήθελε να μην συμμετάσχει στα γυρίσματα της ταινίας. Έδωσε τη βοήθειά του κατά κάποιο τρόπο.
I'm sorry, one more thing. Even Richard, the other brother, also said no. And we finished the film and showed it to him, and he made a mistake. He said, oh God, I should have said yes. So we put him on an airplane and flew him out and opened up the film and recorded it. So, you understand?
Και ο άλλος αδερφός αρχικά είπε ότι αρχικά αρνήθηκε να συμμετάσχει, αλλά βλέποντας το τέλος της ταινίας το μετάνιωσε και είπε ότι θα έπρεπε να είχε πει ναι. Λυπάμαι πάρα πολύ για το κοινό που δεν μιλάει αγγλικά, για αυτό που συμβαίνει.
So maybe I can stand out here and answer a few others if people have, but thank you very much.